Hi everyone. Hello to my subscribers, old and new. I got quite a few new subscribers over my last few videos. You should know, if you don't follow me elsewhere, I don't mostly post my content here. I'm mostly a writer, actually, and I'm on several websites. I am on thedirect.com, I'm on comingsoon.net, I'm on the Cosmic Circus, although I don't really write as much on the Cosmic Circus anymore. I'm mostly a podcaster now, or I'm going to be. I have recorded 3 episodes of a podcast that should be coming out starting next month. We're doing the first season right now. It's really fun. We talk about all kinds of things on this podcast. I'll probably do a little promotional thing on it on this channel once it starts coming out. But yeah, and that's a good segue because I want to talk about podcasting today. I actually just started taking a class on the subject in school. I'm taking it right now today. I started it. It was really good. And one of the things we talked about that I brought up, but I really want to talk about it and just think about it, is kind of the culture of certain areas of podcasts. Obviously, I'm not talking about all podcasts ever because podcasting is a medium and it can cover a lot of different topics. But I want to talk about the kind of podcasts I tend to listen to and guest on, which is movie podcasts, and a lot of it is comic book movie podcasts because that is kind of what my job is right now. I'm trying to expand my horizons into more genres. It's funny because I used to do reality TV, and then I'm totally into the comic stuff, and then now I'm doing I want to do comic book stuff, but I want to do other stuff too. And by comic book stuff, I mean comic book movies and shows rather than mostly comic books themselves. So just wanted to clarify that. But yeah, so I started a podcast class today, and what I brought up is it feels like in my sphere of podcasting, in the comic book movie sphere and even movies in general, it feels like the cis white male perspective is extremely dominant, and that's nothing new for media, but it especially feels that way for this because in areas in other creative areas I've been in, when I do my writing, I don't feel like I'm there's the white men and then it's me. I feel like I'm just a writer with everyone else, and I feel the same on YouTube, although I know there's sometimes issues with gender and race on YouTube like anywhere else. But yeah, I feel like there's more space for people of different backgrounds to become big, and I feel like maybe that's not what's happening with these podcasts, because I feel like there's this inner circle when it comes to these podcasts that are involving the comic book stuff, and it's a lot of it just consists of cis white men. They're going buddy buddy. They're going into their podcast. They gravitate towards each other, and it's just feeling like anyone who's not that is marginalized and other and niche. And so there's a lot of other podcasts out there that are oh, we're gonna do a podcast, but it's the Marvel perspective from women, and it's the real focus is yeah, we're women and we're doing this, and I mean that's fine, that's cool. But that's not what I want to do. I believe I'm very much into feminism. One of my majors is gender and social justice, the other being media studies. And I believe that the best way to the best form of representation is just normalizing it. It's not making a big deal of it. It's yes, I'm a woman and I'm going to do this. Or I'm such and such race or sexuality and I'm going to do this. It's just okay, here I am, I'm doing it. And it's just normalized and people don't have to question it. And that's the goal for me as a feminist and someone who and just a social justice advocate in general. But right now it feels like there's the norm, which is the cis white men mostly, and then there's everyone else who has to emphasize their niche, emphasize their identity in order to carve out their own space. And I don't want to have to emphasize my identity to carve out my own space. I want to be able to just talk about things and not be considered weird or niche or what are you talking about. That's not what we do in the sphere of comic book movie podcasts or whatever. And I do more than just comic book movie podcasts. I'm on one that's on Boardwalk Times, which is a Disney site, and the podcast is called Multiverse of Marvel, and we mostly discuss the Marvel Disney Plus shows. I know we also did one for No Way Home, which was fun. I was on that one. I'm a rotating host on that. And so that's the one I'm on that does that. And then the Cosmic Circus one is going to be something different, which I will tell you about pretty soon. But it's a variety of things, variety of fandom stuff. But yeah, what I really like about being on the Boardwalk Times podcast is that it's very much people of different genders. I don't know if I feel like we could be more racially diverse, but we have different. We have lots of women on there, and it's great, and it doesn't feel weird. It's not oh, we're all women, yeah, or whatever. It's just yeah, we're here to talk about the thing, and I don't know, I just don't want to have to emphasize my gender to carve out a space in this sphere, this particular area of content. But yeah, and I don't think any of this is conscious. Like, I have friends who are cis white men and they do these podcasts and they're great podcasts and I love them. And it's just like, it just feels like I just feel excluded in a way, and I don't think they're doing it on purpose. I don't even think necessarily it's their fault. Maybe it's just how the world, and it is, I mean, like, it is kind of how the world works, like the cis white man of power, right? But, like, it just feels, especially this in the comic book movie podcast section, and movies in general as well. And it's just a little frustrating for me because, like, there's some things I wish we're talking about more on these podcasts, and, like, they're not. And it's, like, just frustrating. Like, I feel like there's, like, the curative fandom and transformative fandom. It's two forms of fandom. Google it. I don't have time to explain it here. But basically, curative fandom is, like, it's about knowledge and, like, what is correct and what is right. And the transformative fandom is, like, more about, like, the gray areas, like, things like character development and I don't want to say shipping, but, like, there's a lot of shipping. Like, not everyone who has the transformative mindset does shipping, but, like, that is one. And, like, character arcs and, like, just the story. And then, like, I feel like the curative fandom side, and this is, like, there's nothing wrong with the curative fandom side. It just feels like it really dominates the podcast sphere when it comes to, like, this stuff. Is, like, Easter eggs, or is, like, is this exactly like it is in the comics? And if it's not, why did they get it wrong? Or whatever. And, like, that's not exactly it. Like, a lot of podcasts, like, aren't that black and white, but I'm just saying that's what it kind of feels like. That's, like, it feels like the barometer. That's what it feels like is just, like, being prioritized in these podcasts. And it's like people are just gonna say, well, why don't you start your own? And it's like, it's not that simple. You have to have people do it. You have to think you're gonna have an audience. Like, I have other stuff I'm working on, and I'm like, so this is not me being lazy and saying other people should do it. But I also don't want to be like, oh, just put me on your podcast, I will solve all your problems, everybody. Like, no, I think it needs to be more a general thing. Like, more diverse voices on podcasts in general. I mean, like, look, I'm not the beacon of diversity. I'm white. I'm cis. So, but I'm just saying, I think we need more diverse podcasts in, like, this whole podcasting circle, or diverse podcasters. And I think that, like, I don't think the diversity needs to be, like, highlighted. I don't want it, that's the first thing I know about these people to be like, oh, hey, they're not cis white men, there's something else and they're gonna do this, right? Like, yeah, just, like, have them there. I wish it was more normalized. Like, as a feminist, I just want this stuff to be normalized. I don't want to have to make a big deal of it every time it happens. And a social justice advocate in general, like, I should say. So that's it. I don't really know what the solution here is, other than just, like, I guess the people who have these podcasts and, like, have an audience should be bringing in more diverse voices to highlight, and then they'll go from there, and maybe people will branch off into their own and stuff. I don't know. I'm hoping this podcast class I take is very helpful in that, and, like, helps me find my voice metaphorically and helps me figure out how to advocate for that in the radio and podcast world. And just helps me sharpen my skills in general. But yeah, like I said, I'm not trying to trash anyone here. It just feels like this. It feels like unintentional bro culture. There's this unintentional bro culture of movie and comic book movie podcasts that, like, I wish wasn't a thing. I don't know. Let me know if you feel it too in the comments. If you need me to explain more, just ask. I'll, like, talk about it. This is just something that I've been thinking about a lot lately. So yeah, thanks for watching.